Hey everybody. So about a year and a half ago, I attempted to go carnivore, and I did for 5 days, and then I ended up failing, and I'll get more into that later. But this video, I wanted to talk about why I failed, and why when I tried another few times, it didn't work until this time, which I'm now on 29 days of strict carnivore, and before that I was eating a heavily meat-based diet. And so I just wanted to go through why I think that I failed, and if anyone else is kind of in that process, maybe some things that can get through to that next step. So a year and a half ago, it was somewhere in January, I decided to go carnivore for the first time because I just wasn't happy, and I just cold turkeyed it. I just went from eating not so good to just like only meat, and I went right for the lion diet. So I literally went salt, and I just did beef. I was grabbing like steaks and hamburger, and that's all I was doing, just grilling and just eating when I was hungry, eating as much as I wanted. And I genuinely felt good and felt fine. And around the 5th day, I hadn't even eaten that day, and I literally just looked at the meat and I just couldn't do it. So meat aversion. I think if you eat anything just cold turkey like that, and that's all you're doing. But there was other reasons that I just like couldn't do it, and it was partially just emotional. I was going through a lot in my life, and this was the same with the second and third time I tried. I felt like, oh, if I do carnivore, these other things will solve themselves. And at the end of the day, it's a diet change. At the end of the day, there's only so much it can do. It's not going to resolve all of your problems. And so I went into it as though if I just did this, all of my other problems would be solved. And that wasn't obviously not how it works, and wasn't true. So on that 5th day, I just looked at the meat and I couldn't do it. I was starving, and I didn't want the meat even after not eating for a day and just really needing food. And so I had some rice, and I think I ate decently better for a while, but I definitely wasn't carnivore. I stopped that, and I felt a lot better, and I went, well, why would I do it if I'm not feeling better? Why would I wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days like all of these people say? That just didn't make any sense to me. So this time, and the second and third time I think was very similar. I didn't get to the point of meat aversion. I stopped like the second time. I think I stopped on the 3rd day, and the 3rd time I stopped on the 1st day. Now, this last time, I think there's some major differences that I did. So for one, I wasn't trying to solve all of my problems at once. It was a very slow progression of like, hey, if I quit doing this, I will save money, and I've done videos on it. But if I quit drinking energy drinks, I'll save money. If I quit having beer, I'll save money. And then not only that, if I quit doing energy drinks, my sleep is better. And if I quit drinking beer, my sleep is better. And so it was these little things that were having big impacts in my life. So instead of going after everything all at once or going after all these small things, I just went after the things that were affecting me the most. Dairy is one of those things that I don't do well with, and I cut that out. I felt so much better, and each time I did that, I replaced what I was eating with just having more meat. And so I just continued to make small steps, cutting out one thing after the other, increasing my meat and fat intake, until 29 days ago, I got to the point where I was eating a cup of rice, and I was eating a bunch of meat, and I didn't even want the rice. And so I just switched over. So I think that was, for the meat aversion, that was one of the biggest things I did, was I just took it slowly instead of just going cold turkey on everything. And the other thing this allowed me to do was get used to the mental process. When you just like cut out food, it is an emotional thing. It is something that, for me at least, I tied a lot of my emotions to. If I was feeling stressed, then I would go eat some food. If I was feeling anxious, I would go eat some food. If I was feeling whatever, I would go eat some food. And that's one of the reasons I failed a year and a half ago, is because I quit everything cold turkey. And it was actually the emotional dissonance of not having anything, and I was just faced with all of my emotions, that I just couldn't do it. And so taking it out one step at a time allowed me to like face each thing as it came and get over that hurdle every single time. And so if anyone else were to do it, I would recommend going in slowly. Now, I think the other big change I made, instead of just doing meat and salt, I let myself have whatever meats I wanted. So I was even eating beef hot dogs. They weren't just like the traditional ones from the store. They had better ingredients, but at the end of the day, it was still a hot dog. I started with beef hot dogs and steak and hamburgers, whatever sounded good. And I seasoned. I think that's a massive one. No sugar seasonings. Like, I had to check every single one to make sure there was no sugar in it. But I seasoned like crazy. And the other thing I did is I focused more on doing a ketovore instead of just a carnivore. So I allowed myself nuts, jerkies. I even had like some lower carb, like the little Unreal bars that have very little carbs in them. So I was allowing myself to go into ketosis, but not just like take everything from myself at once, so that I didn't freak out, which is what I usually do. And I felt amazing this time doing it. It was actually really easy. And each time I kind of got to this point where, I went through like the keto flu kind of. It wasn't super strong, but I went through it a little bit. And then each time I would kind of hit this phase where it was like, I feel good. I want to kind of take it to the next level, and I'd get a little bit stricter, and it was easy. It made me feel better, and like going into that next step was really not difficult. And I found that throughout this past 29 days, that every time I kind of feel like, I kind of want some more cheat type stuff. And for me, this was like biltong, pork rinds, stuff like that, nuts and jerky, things that would be considered ketovore, but not carnivore. Those things just didn't make me feel as good. Blueberries, I just noticed massively that they didn't make me feel as good. And so I went through a couple phases where I would like bring some of that stuff in, realize I don't feel as good, and then I would get stricter and go stricter than what I was at. And every time I went stricter, I realized, okay, the problem wasn't that I needed to add in more. It was that I was using too much seasoning. And so what helped me in the beginning, which was seasoning things like crazy, started to hurt me. And so I found that when I start to crave other things, like more like hot dog type things, that's not just like some steak or some hamburger, that the best thing that I can actually do is become a little bit stricter. So I've just been eating my meat with salt and pepper, and I got rid of those like me wanting to have kind of like these more cheat things. And so for the past 4 days now, 5 days, I think I'm at 5 days actually, all I've been having is either hamburger with salt and pepper or steak with salt and pepper. And this kind of gets me into the last one, because I have been experiencing it a little bit lately with the meat aversion, is I added in lamb, and I'm really enjoying it. When you're only eating meat, I think that something kind of gamier like lamb is actually really enjoyable. So before it I don't know that I could have ever had it. I never had lamb before, but I just decided to try it a few days ago, and I loved it. I feel amazing. I actually think, last night I had like just hamburger, beef hamburger, and I just did not feel as good as the couple days I was doing lamb. And I feel best on steak, and yet I think I did even better on just lamb. So I think my goal is to pretty much move towards lamb. The tanginess that it has, I actually really enjoy it. And so that's another way that I'm kind of getting past that meat aversion as I get stricter and stricter. And for me, the steaks was really important too, because I was doing like hamburger before, and I was doing just like really boring things. And to me, like, there's nothing better than a nice steak. But even that gets a little boring, and so the lamb is really nice. And the last one, I did some grass-fed steak. And I used to not really like grass-fed. It was so flavorful to me that I absolutely loved it. And I know it's because I've become, so strict where I'm only eating meat, that anything with a little bit of flavor is just like, wow, this is amazing. So anyway, this is what I did to kind of get past meat aversion. Let me know what you did in the comments if you've been doing it. Let me know if this was helpful, and if you're interested in more content like this, please give me a like and a follow. I'm almost at 1,000. I'm right on that cusp. So thank you to everyone who is following. Have a good day.